Here's a tip. Some machines and online games have higher average payouts than others. Want to try to maximize your odds? Well, do some research online to find games which have the highest RTP or return to player percentage. So now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
Game Time Decisions is live right here on SportsGrid on this Monday night. Kevin Walsh with you for the next 2 hours as we get set for a Monday slate that, let's be honest, you're missing the tournament. You are. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was glorious. And to get your men's college basketball fix, well, you've largely missed your window. It's just the CBI, half number 2 of Cleveland State, Queens University, that remains. The women's game does provide us some action with some of your top teams playing tonight. We will discuss that. The NBA featuring a couple of important games to the Western Conference race. We'll see the Denver Nuggets hosting the Chicago Bulls, still without Nikola Jokic. We'll see the Lakers in Orlando with LeBron James booked as 4.5-point favorites. The NBA slate tonight also gets the return of Anthony Davis. The second game for AD in a Maverick uniform will be tonight in Brooklyn against the Nets. AD's lone performance for the Mavericks was in a victory, but he did exit early, playing 31 minutes, 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks. Anthony Davis was absolutely brilliant in that game. We now see the Mavericks up to 4-point favorites. AD tonight, 16.5 is his points prop. The rebound number checking in at 8.5. So clearly still some of these numbers not believing that Anthony Davis, not projecting that Anthony Davis will be seeing a full workload. Always tough to tell what type of workload you will be getting from AD. NHL card tonight will give you 4 games. Nothing really standout style. The best of the bunch would probably be Dallas and Minnesota out west, with the Stars booked as over -200 favorites right now at home. In terms of the National Football League, we have over the weekend seen a few markets materialize. Number 2 overall pick odds, Abdul Carter, the favorite, the Penn State edge rusher, and then Travis Hunter is now a minus money price to be selected by the New England Patriots, presently drafting at 4th overall. We could see Travis Hunter go to New England. What would that mean for his future? All things we will get into, as well as It's debut week for Major League Baseball. The real one, not the one they already kind of did. On Thursday, the season will begin at 3 o'clock. We will start officially the full Major League Baseball season. Tonight, we will get you a Take 5 from the crew. They've put their heads together. Yankees-Brewers will start things off. The defending World Series champion LA Dodgers will play their third regular season game of the season against the AL Cy Young from last year, Tariq Skubal. So really excited for all of that here tonight. For those of you that are looking for action, I think one of the things that they do very well in the women's game is offering up action tonight. College basketball throughout the day. We saw a top seed in Texas take out Illinois. We have LSU going right now against Florida State. There are 3 games that remain. A 3 seed in North Carolina hosting West Virginia. These games are on home campuses within the round of 64 and 32. We then have the number 2 seed in the Yukon Huskies going up against South Dakota State out of the Summit. And then the number 1 USC Trojans with Juju Watkins will be hosting Mississippi State, a 9 seed out of the SEC. A couple of looks for me, actually, on that portion of the slate. I like the over in Yukon, South Dakota State. That number right now being priced at 136.5. South Dakota State's reps against top competition. You would look to the game against Duke. You would look to the game against Texas, both going well over the listed total for those games. And what is tonight's total here against Yukon? 160 points when they matched up on the road with Texas. Defensively, they did not have it. When they did host Duke, they scored 71 in a losing effort, but a covering effort, 75-71. Yukon right now looks to be on a mission. It's a big reason why, despite being a 2 seed in their region, they are infringing on title favorite territory just behind South Carolina. I think that if Yukon is running it up, that still helps us get points here. So give me over 136.5. USC and Juju Watkins rolled easily against UNC Greensboro in a 1-16 matchup. 71-25 was your final score. 18.5-point favorites against Miss State. Your superstars do have props tonight. Juju Watkins checks in with a points prop of 25.5. Kiki Irifan you could find for a points plus rebounds number at 25.5. I would look towards Watkins points plus rebounds at 32.5. A tournament performer who maybe didn't have the most gaudy performance in the opening game. 22 points, checked in with 8 rebounds in that one. She only played 28 minutes, which for Watkins is below her season average comfortably. Didn't shoot it incredibly well. Might need a little bit more against Miss State. So I do think you can look towards Juju Watkins tonight in the props market for their game against Mississippi State. As far as the men's game goes, the takeaways, the setups, the situations we find ourselves in with the Sweet 16 solidified. The Duke Blue Devils are the favorites to win the national championship. Their game against Baylor was dominant. And while I didn't think Baylor had much of any chance to actually win that basketball game, I myself grabbed plus 12.5, feeling as if Baylor could keep it close. And for a moment, it was 24-23. Baylor. And then it was 47-30 Duke heading into the half. Blue Devils offense right now is playing so well, and for so much of this season, the story of this team was the defense, and the defense is still great, but it's the offense that grades out as the best in the country right now, and it's that offense you have to wonder, can anyone stop specifically beyond the arc, where they are just lighting teams on fire. We did nearly lose the second favorite in the market. That would be the Florida Gators. They're at various points of their game with UConn booked as a live underdog. We did see their national title price nearly touch plus 800. They are presently sitting at plus 430, a date with Maryland on Thursday. Auburn and Houston do round out the top 4 choices. They round out, of course, our number 1 seeds. What we do still have, though, remaining in this bracket is the 30-plus club. We talked about this before the tournament began. Was there any world that the winner would not come from a team of a 30-plus net rating? How dominant typically those teams are? Well, they are all here, and we did officially put Alabama in that group. Their net rating on KenPom now, a 30.12, as they got over that number with an excellent offensive effort against St. Mary's and a pretty good defensive run, where now they do grade out as a top 30 defense in college basketball. We will be talking about the Sweet 16 tonight, certainly on our show, but we do now check in with the NBA tonight, my favorite side on the NBA card, what Anthony Davis returning means, and how the Lakers stack up on the road against the Orlando Magic. That is all next right here. It is Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid on a Monday night. We will be right back.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back in the right here on Game Time Decisions on this Monday night, where everybody is still just so ingrained in it. Just the thoughts are all with this tournament, this bracket. We're down to 16 teams, and it is now something we got to try and dive into a little bit more with Rohit Panaya. Joins us, of course, over from Covers, where he had a fantastic start to this tournament here. Rohit, just tell me a little bit about the process and maybe what was working for you through the round of 64 into the round of 32.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of the times it was just kind of looking at those market inefficiencies, especially when you were seeing teams that were playing kind of from smaller conferences to those high major conferences and vice versa. I think my biggest hit of the first week there was Alvaro Folgueras, the power forward for Robert Morris. I had him 10 plus rebounds, milestone, plus 300, and that ended up cashing, and that was a pretty good hit. So I'll definitely take that anytime.
Yeah, those prop markets occasionally a little vulnerable out there. Nice to see you took advantage of those. We saw so much conversation, Rohit, around the lack of Cinderella, the lack of upsets, the major conferences dominating, taking up all the seats here in the Sweet 16. Do you have a big takeaway as to how we got here? Is that a one-off or perhaps the new norm?
It's hard to tell, and I think part of the reason is because, this whole transfer portal thing and how it's working out now, a lot of the times when these, smaller mid-major teams are getting good talent, that talent is gone within a year or two. It's ending up, bigger, these bigger conference, these bigger, more high-profile programs. You look at Arkansas. I mean, you look at, John Dell Davis. You look at that Florida Atlantic team that made a run a couple years ago. Pretty much 4 of their 5 starters are still playing in this tournament right now. You've got Elijah Martin. You've got Golden over in Michigan. So it's really tough, I think, for those smaller conference teams to stay successful long term now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw people make the FAU point. The only thing is that FAU team was given the opportunity to run it back, and they failed massively. It's a big reason that Dusty May left. I think we had some teams this year who just couldn't crack through, right? Colorado State was, an incredible Derek Queen buzzer beater away from making this run. UC San Diego had a chance against Michigan. They couldn't push through. And that Michigan team carried on, and then, they knock off Texas A&M. I don't know. I don't think Cinderella is dead just yet. I also don't think, and I thought this was foolish, there were some people saying, oh, this would be the death of college basketball. I don't know, Rohit. I look at the Sweet 16, the eventual Elite 8. I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty great to me. I mean, all these teams are really exciting. A lot of these teams, that we saw come close, like you said, were kind of those smaller conference teams, and it was very close, those margins. Even a team like St. Mary's, for example, it's like they fell down early, but in the second half, you saw that they could hang with Alabama. So definitely something to keep in mind. I think Gonzaga had a bit of a rough seeding as well. I feel like Gonzaga it was certainly talented enough to be a Sweet 16 team. They just went up against Houston a little bit too early.
You mentioned Alabama. They have a really interesting matchup coming up where BYU's offense has been playing so well, Rohit. Do you think that we're going to see Alabama, are they going to need to play better defensively, or, hey, look, 195, we're fine? What's your early read on that game?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking that they're going to sharpen up on the defensive end, focus a little bit more all season. Hasn't really happened. I mean, even in that St. Mary's game, the Gales were getting tons of open looks. They just weren't making them. This whole year, it just seems like they just want to run and gun and think they can outscore everybody. And I think that's what you're going to see here. I mean, playing against a BYU team that, if you look at adjusted tempo, they're kind of middle of the pack, but they certainly can get sucked into those fast-paced shootouts. I think Alabama's going to make it one of those games, and it's going to be a really, really high-scoring one. It's actually one of my favorite bets looking at the early board so far. The over team total for Alabama opened at 89.5. And you look, they've hit that number in 9 of their last 14 games. All the teams where they went under that total were teams in the top 20 in adjusted defense per KenPom. BYU is 71st. So definitely think we're going to see a lot of points here.
Yeah, it's a high total, but it's a high total for a reason. A game, though, that unless I get in the car and get out of New Jersey, I won't be able to bet, which is very frustrating. And I probably will mention every time that game and the Duke-Arizona game comes up, because it's very frustrating. What do you make, Rohit, of Michigan State, where they were pushed by Bryant, they pulled away, pushed by New Mexico, pulled away, now playing Ole Miss? I would imagine this team's going to have to start much better to avoid what would be a 2-6 upset.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you saw that with the Iowa State against Ole Miss. The Rebels came out flying, and they really took advantage of Iowa State. And Michigan State needs to be a little bit better from the get-go. But I think they have the tools, they have the players to do it. I think part of the reason they just wear down teams so much is because they have such phenomenal depth. So, I mean, that's kind of been their recipe for success for a lot of the season, but they definitely need to get getting off to better starts. I think they will do it against Ole Miss. Probably my favorite bet actually on the early board right now. Michigan State -3. You look at the number, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they're ranked slightly ahead of Iowa State in the KenPom ratings. They're at number 7. Iowa State was number 11, but Iowa State was a 5.5-point favorite without Keshawn Gilbert. So now you're getting Michigan State at -3. I think Ole Miss's bubble kind of bursts here, especially because they can't rebound. And Michigan State's one of the best rebounding teams in the country.
You mentioned the number as well. For those who like to, shop around, I'm seeing some 3.5s now out there in the market. This one looks to be on the climb. So if you do want to back Michigan State, you may want to move now. Rohit, we appreciate it as always. Best of luck. Hope you stay hot during the big dance.
Thanks, Kevin. Best of luck.
All right, Rohit Panea there from Covers. An excellent job helping us get set for what should be an excellent slate of Sweet 16 games. And SportsGrid will have you covered Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, of course, as we look to slice this down to the Final Four this coming week. I want to let you guys know we'll expand on this NBA board in a little bit. But the NBA side for me tonight, give me the Denver Nuggets laying 3 points. I know they're on the second leg of a back-to-back, and I know they are without Nikola Jokic in this basketball game. But we just saw Denver cares a lot about seeding. And Denver is going to be able to catch Chicago off of this awesome Laker win. I think they catch them sleeping. Look for Denver to win and cover against the Bulls. Sports Million Pick'em's next.
That magic.
Here's a tip. Some machines and online games have higher average payouts than others. Want to try to maximize your odds? Well, do some research online to find games which have the highest RTP or return to player percentage. So now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. each.
With you right here on SportsGrid. I'm Kevin Walsh. This Monday night, we're going to take a look over on Sports Million Pick'em. One thing that caught my eye just quickly before we send it over to Tom, but the points plus rebounds plus assists higher lowers now starting to populate your options over on Sports Million Pick'em. 44 higher or lower, 44.5 for Luka Doncic, 51.5 higher lower for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Typically, those are more isolated selections, but we're starting to see those combinations that we all love right over on Sports Million Pick'em. So certainly increases the menu. But let's hear what Tom Vecchio is taking a look at for tonight.
What's going on, and welcome to your Sports Millions Pick'ems here on SportsGrid. Let's hop into tonight. We'll have some NBA tonight, NHL tomorrow, roll through some college basketball as we close out the week. Let's start off with today. Timberwolves taking on the Pacers. At this point in the NBA season, this is one of my ideal matchups. We have two teams both fighting for playoff position, different things. With the Timberwolves trying to stay in the playoff/play-in seeding. Pacers are fighting for home court in the Eastern Conference. Exactly what we want to see. No rotations are going to be mixed up. Let's start off with the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, higher than 10.5 assists. He's been at least 10 assists in 10 straight games. He's consistently getting there. The points are a bit of an issue for Halliburton at times, so I want to stay with the assists. We're looking with a modest over-under in this game, but I'm expecting the assist to come through with Halliburton. I expect him to facilitate the offense as usual. We've seen him push to 12, 15 assists in some of these recent games. That's the role I expect him to play tonight, going with higher than 10.5 assists for Halliburton. On the other side, let's turn to Rudy Gobert, and let's actually go lower than 21.5 points plus rebounds combined. We have seen Gobert, obviously, at times put up a 15 and 15 type of game. We know we can do that at times, but in recent games, we're seeing him limited to 5, 6, sometimes even 3 or 4 field goal attempts. So the points from Gobert are a true issue, and we know that with Pascal Siakam down low, they really have to make an effort to keep Rudy Gobert off the boards. We can see plenty of shots from Anthony Edwards on the outside. We're going to see Julius Randle do his thing, but I think preventing the rebounds from Rudy Gobert will be a path to the Pacers potentially winning this game. We'll expect him to get to 10 rebounds, 12 rebounds, sure, but to him to have 12 or 14 points is not something I'm expecting tonight. But again, I'm expecting modest scoring overall, so I think they keep Gobert off the boards. He gets to his normal 10 rebounds, but the points are more of an issue for him when he's only taking 3 or 4 field goal attempts on a nightly basis. So let's turn to Halliburton, higher than 10.5 assists, and Gobert lower than 21.5 points plus rebounds combined, giving us a 3x multiplier. We'll be back tomorrow again with more NHL. We'll turn to college basketball for your Sports Millions picks right here on SportsGrid.
Great stuff there from Tom. You will also find the Anthony Davis higher or lower for points, rebounds, and assists. That number on Sports Million Pick'em is checking in at 31.5. I want to mention something in the NBA. You may not see, well, you won't see it tonight because the Utah Jazz are not playing. I'm curious if we will see Sports Million Pick'em offer us Walker Kessler three-point made shots higher or lower. Now, typically, this would have been a waste of time because through the first 50 games of the season, Walker Kessler had attempted 6 total three-point shots. In the last 5 games, he has attempted 6, 5, 6, 1, and 8. That is obviously wild. 6 total attempts in the first 50 games. He's now averaging 5 attempts per game over the last 5, or 6 attempts per game over the last 5. You are seeing Utah, with all of their losing, let Walker Kessler try something different. It's not been fruitful yet. Eventually, though, he's got to get 2 to fall, maybe attack it in the points market. It just feels like something we should keep an eye on. One of some potentially additional markets we could see on Sports Million Pick'em. Here's a couple of other of the items that you'll be able to find.
Check out Sports Million's social casino featuring classic slots and brand new game concepts. The social casino features the opportunity to win large sweepstake coins, and the games are always free to enter. Go play now at sportsmillions.com/social-casino. That's sportsmillions.com/social-casino.
All right, up next, we'll talk to Coach James Young. Tonight's NBA slate and everything surrounding the NCAA tournament. That's next.
Here's a tip. Some machines and online games have higher average payouts than others. Want to try to maximize your odds? Well, do some research online to find games which have the highest RTP or return to player percentage. So now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8.
It is Game Time Decisions. We are live on SportsGrid on a Monday night. I'm Kevin Walsh. I am now joined by the Coach James Young. A lot for us to get to, JY. We have an NBA board. We've got the women's tournament as well. I've got some picks out there of my own. We'll get some from you in just a couple of moments. But I want to turn back the clock. I want to take a look at the week that was, the games that were, and see if there were any major takeaways from you. I'll throw it to you open-ended. Did you have one main takeaway from the madness that was?
Oh, one? Bro, how much time I got? All right, I'll
Just
go
give
quick.
me one.
Number one, if you can't make threes, you can't win in a tournament.
Uh-oh.
I got suckered into St. John's. They can't shoot. I'll tell you what, we should have known better, Kevin. 47-45 also on the boards against Omaha. They got punked. And the amazing thing is people are sitting there going after Rick Pitino about sitting R.J. Lewis. What was he supposed to do? The guy took, arguably, his last shot, Kevin, was the worst shot I've ever seen in the history of basketball. Over three guys, stumbling, Zuby's shaking him. He didn't want him. Rick did him a solid by getting him out of the game. But for Cal, hey, maybe he's figured it out. They're playing better. I still don't think they beat Texas Tech.
Well, Coach, let's we're on opposite sides. What was Pitino supposed to do? I don't know. Keep his best player in?
Absolutely
I mean,
not. No way.
Well, so here's the thing,
no
Coach.
way.
The last shot R.J. Lewis took was a made free throw, which was, of course, preceded by another made free throw. So he finally watched the ball go in the basket, but Rick had already decided he was coming out. And I understand if in that moment things started going well, except that didn't happen at all. They couldn't score the ball at all. They were already down a man because Kadari Richmond fouled out. Aaron Scott gets to run around shooting 1 of 10. So for me, from my vantage point, old Ricky P said, I'm good no matter what. I'm going to show this kid up. We're going to win without him, which was super short-sighted because as a coach, don't you think Rick Pitino is trying to actually win more than just one game, and he's not going to do a darn thing unless R.J. Lewis plays well, and he shot the kid's confidence dead right there.
Oh, no. R.J. Lewis shot his confidence dead. I'll tell you what happens in that situation, because I've been in that situation. That kid comes out of the game. He sits next to Masiello. If Rick Pitino goes to him and goes to Masiello, talk to him. Talk to him. When he's ready, you let me know. And I guarantee you, Masiello talked to him, and he went back to Rick and goes, can't do it. I've seen it. I've been in that situation. And listen, if you want to blame Rick for anything, it was the fact that they went one time in the last 3.5 minutes, one time down low to Zubietifor. They should have went inside because they were all checking. The best player besides Zuby for that team was Travion Smith. Like, he was actually good. Wilcher looked like he was gun-shy. They put a white kid in the game. I had to go look him up in the lineup. And then he goes baseline dunks. They figured it out. They were a hot mess. Yes, maybe Rick could have done it differently. What he should have done is shot RJ way before he got to that point to calm him down. But the problem is because Kadari got in foul trouble, he had to keep going to him, and he didn't get him under control. And at the end of the game, when it got tight, they never went inside the Zuby. And I think that was the question that everybody needs to ask Pitino, and no one has asked him yet.
Yeah, but my thing then, Coach, is even in that way, Pitino's still wrong. Because then he should have benched him earlier. That way he could have brought him back in with 5 minutes to go. They weren't winning that game without R.J. Lewis. Now with Kadari already fouled out, you're already getting out-athlete, out-talented, and you're going to go throw the Big East player. They couldn't score the ball. They threw their leading scorer on the bench. That's bad basketball.
Well,
that's not going to work.
I'll tell you
and
this
it didn't work.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a history lesson because, you're a little bit younger than me.
Easy.
1994, here comes John Starks, chucking all over the place after playing well in most of the early in the series versus Houston. And every Knicks fan was saying, take him out, take him out, take him out, take him out. He's shooting you out of the game. He's shooting you out of the game. That's what I saw. I saw a guy that was tunnel vision, that was not looking at anybody but himself. They had to get him out of the game. You could talk about he should have run different stuff. Yes, he could have sat him earlier, but at the end of the day, I don't think RJ is why they lost that game. They lost the game because they got out-punked. They got out-rebounded every big spot. The fifth call of Kadari Richmond, which was one of the all-time great coaching moves. Because if you saw Cal, he was right next to the referee. Shot went up, no foul call. Here's the rebound. There's the whistle. Who blew the whistle? Not the baseline guy, the diagonal guy who was right in front of Cal. Cal got that call made. Now, there's another mistake Rick Pitino should have made. There was a stoppage of play right before that. Rick should have been going offense, defense. And that's where Masiello comes in. Masiello's got to have a guy at the scorer's table that says, if there's a stoppage of play, we're in defense, you're getting Kadari. Get him out of the game. There were mistakes made across the board by Pitino. But I don't blame him for what he did with R.J. Lewis. Not as a coach, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, listen, we can talk about John Starks. The reality is John Starks is not the R.J. Lewis equivalent, right? Again, that would be more so Pat. And again, you already fouled out your Derek Harper in terms of Kadari. To willingly let the talent deficit get worse is a disaster. He just watched 2 free throws go in the basket. You're in the double bonus. I thought it was a bit of a nightmare. What I'll say on the Cal side of it, though, JY, is he better enjoy this one season of low bar expectations. They might end up with top 5 title odds next year because he's still got the superstar class coming in, and I still don't know how many of these kids are leaving. Big Z, going nowhere. Wagner, going nowhere. Carter Knox, Kevin's brother, I don't think he's ready. Boogie Flan's gone. Maybe Billy Richmond. He's got all the money in the world to hit the portal. When we get next year's title odds, JY, if Arkansas is not opening with top 8 title odds, something went wrong.
Kevin, I will say this right now. Wasn't Arkansas a top 15 team in the country before the season started?
Absolutely.
They were supposed to be here. So this whole thing of Cal like playing with house money right now, I don't buy it. They've been a disappointment all year. They are one of the 5 most talented teams in the country, and they're so poorly coached. And if St. John's hit any kind of jump shots, and if Kadari doesn't foul, and I'll push back on this, Kadari isn't Derek Harper. He is.
Jay White, they lost to a team who shot 2 and 19. No, Patino gets no grace. His opponent shot 2 and 19. He gets no grace.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't want people going around punching up Calipari like they should have a parade. They were supposed to be in this spot. They were supposed to be in the Sweet 16. They weren't. Kevin, they're a top 5, top 10 talent team in the country. They've been far undercoached all year. Now, if they go beat Texas Tech and then get to the Elite 8, then we could talk. But they've been a massive disappointment. One win doesn't erase the whole season with me with Calipari.
All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, let's put some picks on the board. Tonight's NBA slate, tonight's women's games, round of 32, superstars in action, and start to look ahead towards the Sweet 16. I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm joined by Coach James Young. We'll be right back here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young. A little disagreement in the air. It's going around. I like it. I like it.
It's good. You know what? We're friends. We're not gonna. I mean, we get along. It's a difference of opinion. Here's the other thing. I think you mentioned the point that he was obviously the Big East Player of the Year.
Yeah.
To me, watching St. John's all year, he was not the most important player. It was Kadari. If you look at the end of game, every big game, it was Kadari. End of game, Providence, ball in his hands, it was Kadari. Who gets the poke steal versus Marquette? It was Kadari. So to me, Kadari is the engine, and this is what you worried about Kadari because when he doesn't play well, they tend to lose. And that's kind of what happened in that contest. Look at some of the other games. Some of his lowest point outputs. 3 points versus Georgia, they lose. You look at 9 points versus that game they lost against Creighton. And then obviously the foul out. And this is what happened at Seton Hall. When Kadari's not at his best, it's a big part to handle. He may not lead the team in scoring, but he does so many other things that I think personally he's the most important player on St. John's. And that includes Etifor and RJ.
Again, and here's what I'll say, and then we'll move on. I have no problem with that. Even more so than I can't afford to put RJ on the bench. That's all. I can't. I'm already up against it. JY, I just want to know, NBA board tonight. We've got the Nuggets and the Bulls, the Lakers, and the Magic. AD makes his return for the Dallas Mavericks against the Brooklyn Nets. Are there any picks for you on tonight's NBA card?
Wait. He's not playing in the G League. I thought he was going to the G League. He's not going to the G League? He's not going to G League? No? All right. Well, listen. I like, there's 3 games I looked at tonight, Kev. Number one, I looked at the Timberwolves plus 2.5. Big spot for them versus Indiana. I do think, you'll get, now it's 1.5, so it's almost at a pick 'em at this point. But if you want to go take the Timberwolves on the money line, I have no problems doing that. I just look at the Timberwolves team in a big spot. They should be able to get the job done versus a team in Indiana that's been playing better that has not covered 3 straight. Next, Nuggets minus the points. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they are back at home, which he's out tonight, but Nikola Jokic should be back next game. I still think they find a way to get it done versus Chicago, minus 3.5. And then lastly, Boston. I know no Horford against Sacramento. Short spread, 3.5. Give me the Celtics. So Celtics, Nuggets, T-Wolves.
All right, so a couple of sides there from JY within the NBA. Anthony Davis coming back tonight is very interesting because it does feel as if it is against maybe the wishes, but if it was up to the organization, I think AD wouldn't be coming back. I think AD wants to come back. I think what's very interesting is, could we see Anthony Davis moved this summer? It's on the board. Now's not the time to fully get into that. Coach, tonight the women's game features superstars in Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins. The 2-seeded Connecticut Huskies are nearly 30-point favorites, almost a 20-point number in favor of the Trojans. So I doubt you think either are on upset alert, but do you have any picks in either of those basketball games?
No, I think UConn is going to absolutely roll. Listen, this was a team that, the women's game, folks, you don't forget upsets, Kevin. You don't even get close games in the women's game. You don't, because there's such a disparity in regards to, the haves versus the have-nots. So I would lay the points with UConn tonight. I think the interesting thing is team to watch tonight coming up, and this will be next round, is Texas. And I want to get to this weekend. I don't think they're coming out of that region, okay? I think the winner of TCU versus Notre Dame takes out Texas. If you line up, Kevin, to one line, right, and you think about it, the team that you would want to play the most, to me, is Texas. I want to play Lauren Betts at 6'7". I don't want to play Juju and Kiki, and I certainly don't want to play South Carolina. So that's a team to watch out for. If there's a bet you want to look at either, depending on what you like. Remember, TCU beat Notre Dame in the women's version of Atlantis earlier in the year. It was a lead, that big comeback by TCU. So to me, if you want a little bit of a future bet, take either one of those teams to come out of that region. I don't think it's going to be Texas.
I am on the over in UConn, South Dakota State. The Huskies rolled Arkansas State. Relentless approach, quite frankly, putting 100 up on that basketball team. If they come out with that same level of intensity, that'll be good for my total. South Dakota State, a 10 seed, though, does have good wins under their belt. They had to get a good one against Oklahoma State just to get to this game. They hung with Duke. They did get rolled up by Texas. Guess what? 160 points in that one. I think the Jackrabbits can score it enough to get me through this total here. And I am going to play Juju Watkins over the 32.5 points plus rebounds. Juju was going viral, looked disinterested
in the UNC Greensboro game. Who could blame her? Only playing 28 minutes, probably a part of that as well, because that's about 7-8 minutes less than she's typically expected. In a tournament game, it's way less than Juju is expected. And tonight, going up against the 9 seed in Mississippi State, that could see her get 38 minutes. Quite frankly, that's just how tournament basketball is when it comes to the college game. And that alone can get us through this number in a bounce-back spot in terms of the points. The rebounds have been there for Watkins as well. So that's going to be my look for that game. Live right now. Yeah, go ahead, JY.
Real quick, two things. One, South Dakota State, you're right. You're right. Very underrated. Someone told me when the bracket came out that they were going to pick off Oklahoma State. But if you want a prop, look at AZ Fudd, 15-plus points at plus 120. I think they need to continue to get her going. She is the X factor. More than Paige, more than Strong. Paige is more willing to give other people a ball. She doesn't need to score. Obviously, Sarah Strong, first, second-team All-American. But it's AZ Fudd. If they're going to win the national championship, Kevin, she's got to be the one. Plus 120, 15-plus points.
Live right now, Maryland in their own building on upset alert from Alabama, trailing by 6 in the fourth quarter. And similar situation for LSU hosting Florida State. They trail by 1. It is nearly the end of the first half in that basketball game. We look at the Sweet 16 with Coach next.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Live on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh, Game Time Decisions, Sweet 16. I know that's where a lot of your minds are. How's the bracket doing? Most of you are in a great spot. Let's be honest. Why? Because you're like, it'd probably be a lot of chalk here. The only thing that upset me about the bracket, the only thing, is I had Kansas going to the Final Four, and I knew to fade St. John's. I just did it with the wrong team. And that's on me. But what we do have is really should be great, great games in the Sweet 16. And on Thursday, your full coverage will be done by Ben Stevens and Coach James Young out of our New York studios, so they will not have to be up against it like us in New Jersey, who cannot even bet on Alabama and BYU and Duke, Arizona. Coach, I want to ask you about Duke. Their win over Baylor was dominant. Their title price keeps on climbing. Do you feel that this team is in a tier of their own, or could you see them still end up not cutting the nets down?
I don't think they're cutting the nets down.
Okay.
I think it's Houston. You and I have been on Houston. I've been on, you know this, I've been on Houston pretty much all year. You've been on Houston for the better part of the last 3-4 weeks. I just think they're the team. See, Houston is a different team than people realize. It's their ability not just to defend, Kevin, but their ability to score. And it's been different guys, right? It's been obviously the play of LJ Cryer last game with the 30-piece, right? But to me, what I saw in the last game that impressed me is the junkyard dog got busy. And that's Jawan Roberts, a guy that doesn't get the attention that a lot of other people do, but he does a lot of the grunt, none of the dirty work. And his 18.8 rebound, 5 assists game, going against a guy like Ike, he was the best big on the floor, right? So if you get the combination of that front line with him and Francis, right? And then you got Cryer, Sharp, and then obviously Uzan. If you got them playing like that, I think they're winning that championship. I think the toughest spot they're in until they get to the Final Four is the fact that they put them in Indianapolis against Purdue as a 4 seed, which I still don't understand how that happened.
Well, that is one of the reasons I think that Houston asked to go west, where Florida is playing a Maryland team who I think is at this point better than Purdue, but the game's in California. So there's none of, that going on and going into the basketball game here. JY, that Bama total, 175.5 against BYU. Do you think that total being so high, these offenses being so good, does it play into Alabama's hands, or does it make them more vulnerable?
Well, no, I think Alabama is going to be fine. I like them laying the points. I'm scared about the total because I think you never know what happens if teams get off the cold starts. Obviously, Mark Sears getting 2 fouls early in the game last night. They're still working in Grant Nelson. You saw a big Cliff going in and out of the lineup. I just like them minus the points. I think if Cliff's in the game, their defense is a lot better. Their adjusted efficiency is in the 50s. People talk about Alabama like they have the worst defense in the country. Kevin, for the way they play and the pace they play, they're actually damn good defensively if you really think about it. I'm laying the points with Alabama against BYU.
We'll see. The number's climbing. Bama's in that 30-plus club. I slightly want Bama to beat BYU because I think they are far more likely to give Duke a game. And here's the thing. I have my Duke ticket, but you guys know, as Coach mentioned, I'm more attached to my Houston futures. I also just think Duke, Alabama would be a ton of fun. I really do. I know I'm looking past Arizona. I don't think Arizona has what it takes to eliminate the Blue Devils.
They're getting smoked.
You think so?
I think they're going to smoke it. I think they're going to. If Arizona thinks that they're going to go down by 10, 15 points like they did against Oregon last night against Duke, Duke will have that thing down by 20. It ain't happening.
I imagine their plan.
They're going to put Caleb Love in jail. I hate Duke. They're putting Caleb Love in absolute jail. Sweet 16. That's going to be like a home game at at the Rock.
Listen, Arizona. Advice from Coach: don't go down 15 early. Certainly something they should consider. I think that is fair. We are going to bring in Tom Vecchio. Major League Baseball begins this week. We'll talk about it next.
We're still friends,
right here
right?
On SportsGrid. You better believe it, pal.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in. It's Game Time Decisions. We are live on SportsGrid on a Monday night. We have some NBA, some college basketball, a little bit of hockey, and before you know it, we will have Major League Baseball debuting on the SportsGrid network. Just yesterday morning was Pro Baseball Today, led by Donnie Rightside and our guest at this time, Tom Vecchio. Tom, great to have you here on this Monday night to talk a little bit of this, a little bit of that, which will, of course, include some Major League Baseball.
Yeah, let's get to it. Tyrese Halliburton over 9.5 assists. I like that tonight, but we're here mainly for baseball. As you said, Pro Baseball Today debuted yesterday with Donnie. Did a full preview, AL, NL. We talked about some futures, breaking things down team by team. I have some bets that I really, really like this year for some players. Let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah, we're going to get into Tom's futures in this show. We're going to get into some crew futures as well. I tell people all the time, the team that drives this, it is a baseball crew. They want this to be a baseball show. That's not happening with me around, but we get plenty of baseball. I said, let them eat, right? I'm not here tomorrow. I'm not here Wednesday. I'm going to have some extra time, crack the books, get set, Major League Baseball, some futures. We'll throw them your way. You know that. The crew's going to deliver a Take 5 for you tonight because they've been loading up baseball futures for weeks. They have. That's who they are. For months, probably. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But quickly, Tom, you mentioned the Tyrese Halliburton play. Anything on the ice for you tonight? Just a light 4-game card.
Yeah, this morning on the early line with Ben and Donnie, I talked about Isles, Blue Jackets under 6.5. It was minus 140. The line dropped to 5.5. That's where I was expecting to go. So if you can get a 6 out there, I think that's fine. But I would not play under 5.5. Just getting that potential empty net goal has me a little bit worried. I also don't mind looking to either Jason Robertson or Mikko Rantanen from Dallas for a goal tonight.
All right, so a couple of looks there, even for the goal props, which Tom always loves to put his eye on. So as I mentioned, Pro Baseball Today, this Sunday, they will be breaking down full games, full slates, and on that slate, you'll have a little bit of everybody playing, including the 2 AL MVP favorites. But what felt noteworthy to me is the order you find presently Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt, who had an injury scare a couple of weeks ago, is the favorite to win American League MVP in front of Aaron Judge. Tom, what do you make of that pricing?
I think it's fair. Coming into the season or after this last year, I was expecting it to be essentially a 3-horse race between Witt, Judge, and Gunnar Henderson. And we're kind of there. Like, Henderson's just like a step behind them or so. And ultimately, if he gets off to a hot start, I think we'll see these three jockeying for a position really for the majority of the season. I think we can make the case that we will see Bobby Witt probably win it just because of what he does. We dig into, his WAR and all these deeper metrics, but on paper, he's going to have amazing numbers. He's never going to hit as many home runs as Aaron Judge. We understand that, but everything else he does, he's going to hit for a higher average. He's going to get on base the same, if not more. He's not going to strike out as much. And the Royals have a real shot to win the division. This is not to say that the Yankees don't have a shot to win the division, but what Witt can do, I think, in a very, very competitive division where 4 of those teams are legitimately capable of winning that division, we don't necessarily have the same thing with the East. Now, the East will be difficult with those 3 teams that can win it, but also we're in a time where people put out a narrative, as we have kind of seen with SGA and the NBA this year, where they don't want Jokic to win it again, right? We're gonna put forth the Bobby Witt narrative that he can win MVP, and it probably shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
So that's what's very interesting to me, and I'm wondering if you think that the he can't win it again narrative thought process is factoring in, because I don't know. I don't feel like that is typically how the American League MVP award has been largely dominated by Judge, Ohtani, and Mike Trout for a decade now. There are a couple of guys here and there. I guess, to be fair, those guys have not gone back-to-back, but the literal last 4 MVPs is Ohtani, then Judge, then Ohtani, and then Judge. And I think that sometimes how great Judge has been gets lost in how great Ohtani is, where the only guy who can take MVPs off of Judge has been Shohei. Bobby is, of course, fantastic, but Ohtani is a plus 145 favorite to win NL MVP. There's no fatigue being factored in to his number, and he has more MVPs than Judge, right? Yeah. I'm just surprised to see Bobby jumping Aaron in the market.
Well, I mean, and part of this is, I don't know if you want to come at it from a team perspective, but there's a chance that the Yankees struggle, right? No Cole, no Stanton for however long. There's a chance that we see him put up amazing numbers, and the team does struggle. It's not to say that he can't win it in that circumstance. We saw Mike Trout win it when the Angels weren't making the playoffs. So it's not like we're dealing with a scenario that we've never seen. But and this is maybe just a factor of Bobby Witt, getting a ton of public money, right? They know how good he is, and they're just moving the odds because they want to discourage people from betting it, essentially.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but clearly there is an appetite for Bobby Witt in the market. You mentioned the Yankees, and the Yankees are tied to some of the injuries that are staring this sport in the face coming into the year. I thought it would be important to talk about some key pitchers and key hitters who you won't see week 1, maybe week number 2. Listen, baseball, due to how they are launching it, let's be honest, it's a swoop-in sport. People are March Madness crazy right now. Baseball, again, let's be honest, totally lost at the plate, not starting their season tomorrow or Wednesday, debuting their season up against the Sweet 16, totally clueless by Major League Baseball. It's a swoop-in sport. It's what it is. There's a lot of key injuries out there right now, Tom. Shane McClanahan on the IL from the Tampa Bay Rays. Gunnar Henderson on the injured list for the Baltimore Orioles. Are there any key injuries that you think could really impact a certain team heading into this season?
The Mookie news is, I would say, more concerning from him personally than it is for the Dodgers overall. I think they'll be able to weather the storm. The fact that he's lost so much weight apparently due to this illness that he's dealing with. I think they'll be fine. Same thing with Freddie Freeman. Even if he continues to be out for a little bit, I think they'll be okay. The Gunnar Henderson news is obviously very concerning for the Orioles. I think, again, their offense will be fine. It really comes down to their pitching staff overall. I haven't seen anything that jumps off the page. I'm like, wow, this is a season-changing injury. Like, the Rays were never going to be amazing this season. Like, it's great to see McClanahan back. He's legitimately an AL Cy Young candidate, but even with him, the Rays at best are a wild card team, like not in a shot to win the division. So there's nothing that's really jumped off the page. Strider is on his way back, which is great for the Braves, and same thing with Acuna, they're on their way back. But I think they're going to be fine without him, and they'll just be better once he gets back. So I think we're in an okay spot with injuries, and once the season kind of picks up, I think the teams will just get better, and that's what will bring more viewers, especially once March Madness ends.
Yeah, I think that Atlanta of the teams is the most interesting because it's easy to forget that Atlanta last year was viewed as so great. The Dodgers couldn't really separate from them in the market, and then they lose the NL Cy Young favorite and the NL MVP favorite, and at some point, all of a sudden, the Braves are just going to bring those guys back, and that's going to change those numbers from a day-to-day perspective and a futures perspective as well. Let's talk some baseball futures with Tom next right here on SportsGrid.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're in the mix with you right here on a Monday night. Kevin Walsh, Tom Vecchio. We are waiting for a couple of extra games to join us. We did just get Lakers Magic underway. First basket scorer, Paolo Banchero, makes the room jump. If anybody was in the mix there, we're underway in the Pacers-Timberwolves game, as well as Washington and Toronto. on Denver late night, laying 3 against the Chicago Bulls. And then the women's NCAA tournament round of 32, Maryland and Alabama are in overtime. We just started North Carolina, West Virginia. LSU starting to extend a little bit on Florida State. I'm on the over in UConn, South Dakota State. USC, women, Juju Watkins over 32.5 points plus rebounds. We're joined by Tom Vecchio on this Monday night. We're talking baseball futures. I'm going to let Tom hit leadoff before I circle the crew and their take 5 in here. So, Tom, talk to me. I know a few tickets have already been placed for this Major League Baseball season.
Yeah, let's run through some of these. Lawrence Butler for the not Oakland Athletics, because they don't have a city name, over 23.5 home runs. You know, he's a really good prospect, and he was super solid last year. As I explained to Donnie, on the show yesterday, I believe in him as a prospect, and I legitimately think he can break this. And I would believe that his line next year would be 28, 29, 30 because he's going to go over this number. So I'm trying to jump ahead of the curve and be on a prospect that I believe in just because it's something that I'm, into with fantasy baseball and who's that next big player. And I think Lawrence Butler is going to be that player. So I'm going to take him over 23.5 this season. The park factor is great for them. They're not in Oakland anymore. They're playing in Sacramento. It's a much better park, better hitting conditions, and he has the power to get there. Next would be Sasaki, the new pitcher for the Dodgers. It's over 143.5 strikeouts. That's on FanDuel. On DK, they don't let you bet individual players. You can bet them in the band, so it's like 150 plus, 160 plus. Sasaki for 160 plus is minus 110, so his line is 159.5 in theory at DK. You can't bet the under, but it's 143 at FanDuel. So just from the market differential, I really do like that. I wish I could take the under at DK, just have a nice bit of a middle, but we can't be doing that. And then my favorite one on the board here is Jackson Merrill to lead the league in hits. And as you know, last year I hit on this with Bobby Witt to lead the league in hits at 19-1. Year before that, I had Matt Olson at 28-1 to lead the league in home runs. Jackson Merrill is awesome. And when you look at his projections, no matter where you get them from, whether they're Fangraphs or elsewhere, we have Jackson Merrill at a lot of times at either 6th, 5th, or 4th when it comes to total hits. Now, he's 4th in total hits, but he is also like 15 to 20 hits behind a Bobby Witt or Luis Arraez or Vladdy Jr. So it has him in the top 5 essentially, but he's still a gap or two behind what actually could lead the league. But at 19-1, if we have someone that could be in the top 3, that's a great ticket to have right now.
Yeah, a lot of great options there. I know you love the league leader markets. Jackson Merrill, if he does lead the league in hits, maybe those Bobby Witt MVP tickets are in trouble. Just, little transitive property there. Yeah. All right, here's what we're going to do, Tom, because I know you have a couple more. We'll work those in. But again, just for everybody, this is a take 5 from our crew here on Game Time Decisions. They're bettors, they're baseball fans, and they wanted to get in the mix. And I said, all right, you know what? Let's get you guys in the mix at the minimum. And here's how it looks. We're going to go through it one by one. We'll start with the pitchers that you'll see on this take 5, Tom. Zach Wheeler, the ace for the Phils, over 191.5 strikeouts. Garrett Crochet, the newly acquired Boston Red Sox, for 200 Ks at a little bit of a plus price. Thoughts on either one of those selections?
I think both of those are fine. The Crochet one would be interesting if the Red Sox are not in the playoff hunt at the end of the season. Do they scale him back? Because getting to 200 is quite a lot. I wouldn't be worried about the Zach Wheeler one just based on the fact that he's been so consistent. The Phillies are going to be there from the start to the finish. He's been an innings eater. He is absolutely awesome. The Crochet one, again, if he is truly this ascending ace that people believe him to be one of the favorites to win Cy Young, he should be able to get there. But again, the team dynamic of the Red Sox, them potentially not in the playoff race in September, would be the thing holding me back.
Yeah, I think it's fair what I would say. While I think both of these certainly have plenty of chance to cash, when I put my baseball futures together last season, player prop-wise, any pitcher bet was towards the under. Now, it didn't mean they all won, but where I don't like when someone, if I bet Joel Embiid for 30, he gets hurt, he has 26 points at halftime, gets hurt, people go, I got to bet unders, injury could come in. Okay, that's nonsense. That is absolutely ridiculous, okay? Season long, though, the sport is so volatile, I just want to be very cautious with pitchers. That does not mean when last year I bet Hunter Green under 9.5 wins, I was like, well, he's going to get hurt. No, that's ridiculous. Again, right? It didn't work out when I bet a Paul Skeens under strikeout number. It is just, though, how I feel around the pitcher position. How about those two hitters, Tom? James Wood for 19 homers, Vladdy Jr. for 31 of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, Vladdy is something that we'll get to a little bit in the next segment or the next portion of this. I'm fully on board with Vladdy, which I will get to. The Wood numbers is interesting, and I do like it. Like, he is supposed to be one of their key building pieces, along with isn't Cruz the favorite to win NL Rookie of the Year, I believe? So, like, they have this ascending. He is the front runner to win NL Rookie. So, like, they have this ascending young talent. I think it comes down to the lineup protection, essentially, because if no one else develops behind him, it's like, okay, we can just pitch around their best hitter, and he may never see, like, amazing pitches, essentially.
Yeah, let people know right now, Tom, before we hit the break, why you, or how much, I guess, you like that Vladdy Jr. number.
Yeah, Vladdy, I love that number. I also like him to lead the league in home runs at 45-1 earlier. It's down to 35-1 now. He has great underlying metrics. He only still last year, 13.8% strikeout rate. Last year, his ISO was over 200. It was the highest it was since 2021. The issue for Vladdy last year was that his fly ball rate was not good. His hard contact rate was still there. So if you think about it, it doesn't matter how many fly balls he would hit if he had no power. It's actually the opposite. He has all the power. He's just not hitting fly balls. And he can fix that. You can fix, like, the path of the bat through the strike zone to generate more fly balls. And I love the fact that he's in a contract year and they have all these negotiations that ended. And he's going to go out there and drop 50 home runs and show the Blue Jays what they're missing. And he's going to leave in free agency.
Will the Orioles miss the playoff? Talk about that next, right here on SportsGrid.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions right here on this Monday night. Lakers up early on Orlando. Luka doing his thing with 4 early ones, so that's well beneath what is his typical first quarter standard. We're with Tom Vecchio, and we're going to bring in one nice little conversation here to round this out, which is the fellas' final take 5. Baltimore Orioles to miss the postseason, and this is why I find the American League fascinating. plus 116 to miss on Baltimore. It's not an incredible price. Second best odds to win this entire league. The best odds belong to the Yankees. When's the last time you heard a good piece of news surrounding the New York Yankees? I don't remember it. So, Tom, what do you make of the Baltimore bet? What do you make of the American League?
So, American League's really tough. Like I said, it's not been good news for the Orioles. I would assume, and I don't know the behind the scenes of why they chose this, but I would assume Yankees win the division. It's not pretty. The Red Sox are there neck and neck with the Orioles, and they just make things tough for them. The Mariners could win the division. The Rangers could win the division. I actually do like the Rangers. And then we're going to see two teams out of the Central. I think it's going to be the Royals and the Tigers again. And it just puts them in this, like, there's a lot of good teams, and I don't think anyone's, like, amazing. So if we were to see the Orioles struggle and then they don't pick up a pitcher at the deadline, which they should have done last year, they just fall into this mid-ground where it's like, actually, they just got beat out by teams. Not saying that they were dramatically better like the Royals or the Tigers and the Rangers and the Mariners and, of course, the Astros, but they just lost a step here or there. They fell an extra game, and all of a sudden they're out of the wild card race.
Yeah, I think for Baltimore, they've not had, again, a brimming with positivity offseason. Corbin Burns is gone. Basically no replacement. Gunny's injured. Yes, there's a lot of young guys, but sometimes it gets tricky to project arrow up on every single guy, especially when Gunnar Henderson just had what could end up a career year, when maybe Adley Rutschman is going to be incredible positionally, but not the MVP candidate that we saw Buster Posey be necessarily there. But why I find the American League, again, just so incredibly interesting is who's the trending team? Who's the team that everybody is in love with? Is it Kansas City with the 10th best odds in the American League?
I like the Tigers. Scooble's amazing. They bring in Jack Flaherty, one of their young pitchers, Jackson Jobe. He's one of the favorites to win. Who's up there on the list when it comes to AL Rookie of the Year? Like, they have some real pitching. So I'd be interested in them. I'd be interested in the Royals, and I think the Rangers are in for a bounce back year. Even if DeGrom's not 100% the DeGrom he was, their lineup's good.
I'll say this on the Tigers. Again, there's a lot more research that'll be done on my behalf to get to these numbers. Detroit was DOA, and then they got red hot. And Scuball won a Cy Young that he deserved. But the Tigers were out of sight, out of mind until they weren't, and I worry is that going to be a difficult thing to carry over for that baseball team. Maybe you like their offseason enough, Tom, but this was a team that was out of it for more of the year than they were in it.
Right, but you could say the same thing about when you look at the Central Division odds. It's like, 280, 290, 310, 340. Like, besides the White Sox, anyone can win that division. And that's like what's part of it is like there's no real clear differentiating factor. Like, I think Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee are really, really solid options for Cleveland, but we could still say that Scooble's better than them. And Cole Reagans is awesome for Kansas City, but then some of their other options are good but not great. So anyone can win that division. So you kind of have to have your horse like in that race is what I said to Donnie yesterday, where if you just pick a team, you have to back them for the entire year. I don't think you can be jumping from ship to ship, essentially. So buy into the Royals, buy into the Tigers.
For you, the final future we did not get to is a pitcher in that division. Let the people know.
Yeah, that is Tanner Bybee, over 162.5 strikeouts this year. We got to remember that Shane Bieber is at least not starting the season for Cleveland. He will be back at some point, just don't know when it is. Bybee's a really solid pitcher, and he is in a spot to have a lot of innings under his belt. His strikeout rate's going to be about 25, 26%. He doesn't waste pitches on the mound. He has a super low sub 6% walk rate. So I don't want to say based on like attrition is the way I described it to Donnie. He'll just get there just because the innings will. He's a really talented pitcher, and he has the strikeouts. He limits the walks. He limits hard contact. He's not going to give him a ton of home runs. And I think him and Gavin Williams are going to be a spot to carry that rotation until Shane Bieber gets back. They are really, really solid.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for the Guardians out in the Central. It's going to be a fun year for everybody on Pro Baseball today. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. Tom Vecchio and Donnie Rightside right here on Sports Grid, so make sure you are tuned in with them this weekend. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back. More Game Time decisions next.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you on this Monday night. While we have some action live, we'll talk more about we got double overtime now between Maryland and Alabama. We'll follow all of this here on a Monday night. I want to just quickly mix in some noteworthy NFL draft market movement. We have now seen the market posted for player to be drafted second overall. It is a minus money favorite for Abdul Carter. So the draft is now supposed to go Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, and the Giants at 3, as we discussed last week, are heavy favorites to take quarterback. Shador, Dart, we'll see. But what has now happened in the market is the favorites to draft Travis Hunter at a minus 120 price are the New England Patriots. And this is one of those situations where the Travis Hunter conversation, okay, I don't agree with the one that a lot of people are having. Everyone is falling all over themselves to talk about how Travis is just a corner, playing both sides of the football, is not a realistic option in the National Football League. I think it's interesting how many people have that opinion. While being angry, Hunter said what he does is more difficult than Ohtani. But I guess that's neither here nor there. But if you are the New England Patriots and you draft Travis Hunter, why would you not give Hunter the ability to do both? Ultimately, you will have Travis Hunter on a rookie deal. So it's not going to affect your wallets in year number 1, 2, 3, while letting Travis Hunter be Travis Hunter. Again, he was able to do it so well in college, in the Big 12, that he won the Heisman Trophy. It is not as if people thought that was going to be an easy and obvious thing for Travis Hunter, and yet he was able to accomplish that feat. So I feel as if it is in the New England Patriots' clear-cut best interest to let Travis Hunter do both, especially when you consider how much they need a wide receiver. But for Travis Hunter, if you are going to be told you can only do one, I don't care how many people tell you you're the best cornerback in the world. That's a waste of your time. And that is limiting your earnings. Who's the highest paid corner in football? Most of you don't know. Nobody cares. Everyone knows who the number one wide receiver is when it comes to money. That's Jamar Chase. And he's making way more than the highest paid cornerback. The New England Patriots might have the future highest paid corner in football already on their roster in Christian Gonzalez. You think they're going to allocate $70 million to their DB room? I doubt it. They don't have a number one wide receiver. So if Hunter lives up to his billing on that side of the ball, he will comfortably get his money come time from the New England Patriots. So again, I don't understand any world where Travis Hunter is limited to one side of the football and it's just defense. But if that's going to happen where he can only play one, especially if it's the New England Patriots, then he should be playing offense. And it is why, unless the books hand us an atrocious number, which they might, I will be interested in Travis Hunter to win Offensive Rookie of the Year when those numbers are unveiled. I do the NFL draft talk before we bring in Dave Sharapan, the sportsbook consigliere, because I know that's not really Dave's cup of tea. Consiglio, though, it is good to see you here on a Monday night off of the Sweet 16 or becoming finalized round of 64, round of 32. My opening question to you is what are people doing? What are people betting on this Monday night without the men's NCAA tournament in their lives?
I mean, there's 4 hockey games, and, I don't know, unless your name...
And no one's betting those.
Unless your name is Mike Carver, you're probably not betting the Islanders, although you should. That would probably be a good play. I don't know who's even betting any other of the games. I mean, Detroit's a dog against Utah, maybe a worthy bet there. And Minnesota, big dog to Dallas. I don't know, K-Dub. Not too much going on. This was a day that I had off forever in the book after working basically 16 hours a day, 4 days in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 Super Bowls, back to back to back to back, nonstop bets, first halves, parlays, first to 10, first to 15, all that stuff, second half bets. It's electric. It's the Final Four, beginning first week. A lot of fun. We did some live shows down on the Strip. Peralt and I were down there at Resorts World, kicking it, hanging. They set us up really nice. I had a spot for you. The boys said you were pretty busy. That's okay. You and JY held it down back home. That was good. It was good to see. K-Dub. Houston, you still feel good? Do you still feel good about Houston?
I feel as good as I did. I never loved their draw.
Okay.
But I love the team, and I think that the team, look, they had a matchup against Gonzaga that was unfortunate for them to have so early, but they got it done. Now they play Purdue. For those that don't know, Houston asked the committee to go to the West, not because there's a big Cougar fan base in San Francisco. It's because they wanted to avoid what happened, which is having to play a Big Ten team in the Midwest now. And that's exactly what they have on their hands, playing, Purdue in Indianapolis. That is not what they were looking for, but it's what they were given. But I feel good with Houston. I think, you know what I'll say? I am starting to remember and be happy my preseason pick was Duke, because that counts too. That pays out as well, the 10-1 ticket. And I don't want that to be lost in the conversation because of how I do feel more attached to the Houston tickets.
Yeah. Well, let's get that to be the matchup in San Antonio. They're on that side of the bracket. It can't be Duke versus Houston. That could be the number ones that get over there. Now, the other ones are right there, Florida and Auburn. And the odds-on or favorites are right there. And when you look at it, their ways are a little bit harder. I mean, Duke is the biggest favorite of round 2 so far. Round 3, I guess, Sweet 16 to Elite 8. Duke's 9.5-point favorite against Arizona. I really don't give Arizona much of a chance unless, Love has the game of his life and Flag does not, blows out a shoe like Zion or something. Who knows? I don't think they're going to beat them. And then they get the winner of, BYU and Alabama, which will make for a very entertaining game, a game with a lot of juice, if you know what I'm saying. They can't make that total high enough. If we get Duke and Alabama or Duke and BYU, we're going to have a very high number that will go over. Straight up, though, the tournament was 36-12, straight up for the favorites, 26-22 against the spread. Good for the books. Totals went 20 overs, 27 unders, and one push. So that's pretty decent for the book, too. So despite all the favorites winning, they didn't all cover. Everybody had a good weekend. It was a blast.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it gave us a lot of fun games. I'll say this quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I saw something that a prominent figure said that if we're done getting Cinderellas, blaming it on NIL, then that's the death of college basketball. That person knows absolutely nothing about what they're talking about, and that largely goes for all of the topics, but especially this one. The games this weekend will do massive numbers, massive attendance, and massive handle outside of New Jersey because of the stupid archaic rule that I'm going to mention every single time. We'll be right back here on SportsGrid on a Monday night.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. I am with Dave Sharapan. Tonight in the NBA, I'm on the Denver Nuggets at a -3 price against the Chicago Bulls. In the women's college game, I am on the over in UConn, South Dakota State, as well as Juju Watkins, 32.5 points plus rebounds to the over. We are still playing in Maryland, 108-106 with 30 seconds remaining in double overtime. You want to talk about juice? You did not have the under in that one, as my guy would say. LSU fully runaway style against Florida State, wins the third quarter 31-7. 6. If you took those points pregame, you were feeling good at the end of that opening half. You were right there. You trailed by 1. The next thing you know, you trail by a lot more. Tell me, Dave, early returns, it's probably not great. I wonder if people are, though. I imagine that even when Caitlin Clark was in the women's game, round of 32 action, round of 64 action, wasn't getting much bite or buzz. Do you think we could see it elevated a little bit, though, when we hit the Sweet 16, Elite 8, or Final 4?
So we never even used to put it up until it got to the Final 4 because we didn't have anybody asking us to put it up. That's how you usually used to gauge it. Now, Caitlin Clark changed everything. The handle was through the roof when she was a senior, and the Iowa games were 5 to 10 times more handle than any of the other games. There has been a drop-off. Now, will it pick back up? Yeah, business will pick back up when the games have a little more competitive spread. You don't get too many bets on both sides. These are all, or these early games are all one-sided. And as the book, you're just have a dog cover. You know you're not going to win, but they're minus 22, they're minus 28. Every round feels like the first round of the NCAA men's tournament. And every game is like that. But now, I mean, I've been riveted to this Alabama-Maryland game. Like you said, it's 108, 106, late in double overtime. Give me more games like this, K-Dub, and we'll do more handle.
Yeah, that's why the pull-in isn't there early, because there's probably the teams that people want to bet on. It is difficult. Oh, I'm going to lay 30 tonight with UConn. That's just not. That's tough, right? Ooh, I'll lay 3 with UConn in an Elite 8 game. Okay, right?
Okay. Yes.
That's going to get, I think, a lot of people, I think that's going to get the juices flowing. I really do like, though, how the women's tournament staggers to give us Monday games. That's good scheduling. Bad scheduling is what Major League Baseball did, obviously. And that's by starting on Thursday instead of Tuesday or Wednesday. That, though, has not stopped our crew, Dave, from putting together a little take 5 that they wanted me to share with you and the people. 4-player props and a team play on Baltimore to miss the postseason. Zach Wheeler over the strikeouts along with Garrett Crochet, over the home runs for James Wood and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What is the early return, Dave, perhaps you're hearing out there? Are there any hot teams gaining in the market with the Major League Baseball season approaching and people likely trying to get a couple of futures down before the season officially begins?
Yes. And I'm not just saying this because you're a Yankee guy, but the Red Sox, a little bit of buzz because of the step back that it looks like the Orioles are going to have due to the pitching more than the lineup. The bullpen bridge to get to the closers a little bit rough, and the starting, I mean, after Eflin, there's a lot of question marks. So Baltimore under makes sense. Baltimore did not make the playoffs. The crew's probably onto something with that one. The AL Central got 3 teams in last year, and I think the talk is maybe Cleveland is not coming back to the playoffs. So that might be another one you're talking about, miss the playoffs and or season wins under, while Detroit and Kansas City both over. In the AL West, it's Seattle. Seattle under season wins. Didn't really do much to help the lineup. Now, Rodriguez is having a great spring. Looks like he's back. He had a terrible season last year. No protection in that lineup. So I don't know how they're going to score runs. They'll probably have a lot of first 5s unders, a lot of game unders, because the starting rotation is excellent. I really, really like, personally, the starting rotation in Seattle. And then in the National League, who's starting opening day in Pittsburgh? Paul Skeens. And they're betting him. I know you heard of that guy. He ain't bad. But I don't know if the Pirates have enough in the lineup to even win 80 games. I really don't. I was down there, watched a lot of the games. Went to 3 games, 3 Pirate games, and went, geez, I don't know. So they got to make final cuts this week. I see what to go with the Major League roster. I'm worried about the bullpen. it's probably an under K-Dub. Hate to say it.
75.5 is the present Pittsburgh number. Paul Skeens booked as the favorite right now in the National League Cy Young race. Just missing a couple of zeros from the number the group bet him at from last year. Only if we could have rolled it over at that price, but we cannot. I will say, and I do find it very interesting, that Bobby Witt jumped Aaron Judge in the American League MVP race.
How about that?
I think that is my simplest take on that is Bobby Witt at that number is an atrocious bet. That is all.
I can't believe it.
Doesn't mean he can't win it, but it's a much worse bet than Shohei at plus 145. Simple as that.
It is, but I think the buzz about, like, you know, and you did this last year. We did this. Maybe we'll do it this week before go through the first month of the season and the schedule. I think Kansas City could get off to a good start. I didn't look at how many times they played the White Sox, but I think they're starting to bet that. One, because they think he's going to play more games than Judge, which may or may not happen. But two, they don't want to vote him again. So the Judge, so looking to take the next guy, and the next guy could be Bobby Witt Jr. But you're right, the price is, I can't believe it. It's less than 3-1.
I also think it's because Bobby's having a great spring, and I mean, moving stuff on spring is an interesting move. We'll be right back with you here on Sports Grid.
That magical time of the year when everyone suddenly becomes a basketball expert. Highlight watching, mascot picking, bracket stressing. Sound familiar? Skip the guesswork with Bracket Central. Real expert picks, trusted analysis, and zero stress. Because choosing teams by mascot cuteness isn't exactly a winning strategy. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's made every match so much more enjoyable to watch because you don't get the stinkers, right?
Right. It goes back to these guys being smart. They figured out that if I've got the hammer in my back pocket and I don't relinquish it, we can just play them straight up and win. They figured that out. So it's like, all right, now credit to the people at TGL. Like, no, we need to fix this because the hammer can change the match. And since we fixed it, you're not out of it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
We're closing out game time decisions on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh here on this Monday night. Just a little programming note for everyone. Tomorrow and Wednesday, Joe Ranieri will step up and in, crush it right here on the show. Thursday night, New York crew will handle your first bit of Sweet 16 action with some of those games from Jersey. Just that's the best way to get that done. Appreciate those guys stepping up. Myself and Joe Lisi will just crush Friday for you. Full 4-game run of it, probably 6 hours. I'm all about it, though. We're going to be watching those games as is. maybe Thursday. Personal note, do I just go back home, Queens, get involved a little bit? No props, so we can get some totals and some juice in those Jersey games.
Yes.
We'll see. We'll think about it. About it.
Come on.
Do I go to the game? Nah, I don't think I got
No.
We're with Dave Sharapan, though, and it's always good to have Dave here. Dave, I want to close on this quickly. But before I get to it, in-game live tonight, let the people know kind of some of the big games on the docket for you and the crew.
Me and Wetzel will summarize a lot of the NBA. You mentioned the Nuggets game. Wearing the Sacramento Kings old school stuff. Sacramento at home against Boston tonight. Boston 9-1 in their last 10, 5-game winning streak. Who in the hell is betting the Sacramento Kings? So we got to represent them tonight for the book, guys. We'll be keeping an eye on the hockey just because it's getting to be that time. I mean, there's like a dozen games left maybe, and it's playoff time. And I know you're a hockey guy and the most unbiased fan in sports media right now.
Thanks, sir.
So you'll be watching all of that. We'll be watching all of that in-game live. We got it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We hand it off to you guys on Thursday and Friday for Bracket Central and all that stuff. I heard you earlier. Are you serious? You're going to take this guy to win Offensive Player Rookie of the Year? You don't even know what team he's on? Is that what you said? You don't even know what team he's on.
They don't usually ever post them until they're selected.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about that. And let me just say this. My Travis Hunter bet for Offensive Player of the Year, I would need a minimum of 50-1. Minimum. For Offensive Rookie of the Year, he's going to be a favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Well, Abdul Carter will be the favorite. He'll be the second choice. And Carter should be the favorite. It's an edge rusher's award.
Yes.
I will be interested in Hunter. Here's the thing. Genty's going to be a big favorite in the Offensive Rookie of the Year market. Then it's going to be Cam Ward, Ted McMillan, Shadur Sanders. I want to see how far down the board Hunter is. Because they're going to feel that anybody who bets it, it's throwaway. I'll give you a $10 throwaway free bet. I'll give you a $20 free bet if I have it. I want to see. I want to see.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what it is. That's what it is. Quickly to you.
Making it rain on Offensive Rookie Player of the Year. That's pretty good. I like when you say, 10, 20. What else are you throwing out there? I mean, what else are you putting out there for the people?
Yeah, I'll give you a good one. We'll close on a good story. Halftime, Arizona, Oregon. I took Caleb Love and Jackson Shellstead for 8+ made threes with one free bet, and then 50+ points combined.
Oh!
And the 8 made threes came in first. That was, let's just ballpark numbers, 10-1. And then I was waiting on the 50+ combination, which was a huge number at 24-1. And they got there. And what was so good about them getting there is I was rooting it in. And then when I got back to the ticket, obviously it was Caleb Love and a completely different Oregon Duck in Nate Biddle. Real play on me. I don't even know if the Shellstead number existed. I don't know if I clicked the wrong thing. I don't know if I'm dyslexic and I just found out, live in-game Central bracket. I don't know what happened. But tough scenes there, Dave.
Check your tickets at the window. We used to tell people that every day. And they just would take it sometimes and put it in their pocket. Now, electronically, once you hit send and confirm, it's in. So if you messed up, it's on you. It can't be voided.
Well,
listen, that's a good lesson. I'm impressed you stayed awake to the end. Donnie, right side, he was
someone had
asleep
to
before the game even tipped.
And 100%. He doesn't even know that those teams are still in the tournament. Consig,
no idea.
We appreciate you. Women's game, UConn, South Dakota State over the 136.5. Juju Watkins over the 32.5 points plus rebounds. NBA, Denver Nuggets lay the 3 against the Chicago Bulls. I will see you Friday, but also see you on Moneyline. In-game live is next.